Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 24th of October for the Sun or the Ascendant. This is a crackerjack week. There's so much going on. I'm really excited to share it with you. What I'm going to do is give you the overall strands which influence us all collectively, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you each of the 12 zodiac signs in much greater detail, from Aries through to Pisces. So as we start this week, Saturn has ended its retrograde, but it remains in a very attritional right angle with Uranus. So I need to explore that for each of the signs. We also have the Sun and Venus have moved together into the sign of Scorpio. Now, the Sun in Scorpio is very much about transformations. It's where we're most invested or devoted. But Venus technically is not at its best in the sign of Scorpio. But of course it did have that magical connection with the Sun last Saturday, where they were exactly side by side. So the potential to continue a dialogue around a relationship matter is there, but I think what we get now is much more into the deeper analysis, the real politic of what some relationships are about, and perhaps the real politic about our longer term financial situation too. Now, of course, we have the partial solar eclipse on Tuesday, which on the face of it does give us some opportunities. But it works in tandem with the total lunar eclipse of the 8th of November, which is truly astonishingly tough. So I think we are about to see a massive reset globally. When it comes to energy consumption, the price of things, the cost of fuel and foodstuffs have all been going up, but I don't think we've seen the end of how this restructuring is going to play out. However, on Friday, Jupiter, the planet of growth, retreats in its retrograde back into one of the two signs that it governs, the sign of Pisces, where its rulership is a much more spiritual dimension. It's going to continue the retrograde until November the 23rd, but it will stay in Pisces through to the 20th of December and return to Aries. So there may be something of a deep and contemplative strand that we really need to consider quite carefully through this change. Now on Sunday, Mars slams on the brakes, goes into a retrograde through to the 12th of January. But it's going to stay in the sign of Gemini through to the 25th of March. But for the whole of October, the whole of November, it is within 3 degrees in a square with Neptune. And that's creating quite a lot of distortion. So that's something else I need to explore for each of the 12 signs for you. So please stay with me. You can see an enormous amount of celestial action. If you are new to my channel, I'd be honoured if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. If you would like to understand what year 2023 will hold for you personally, if you give me 3 pieces of your birth data, of time, date and place, I can give you your forecast for next year, but if you order it in 22, you'll get the rest of this year 3. But in my special package, you can also get your life roadmap, your character analysis, which can help you to understand some of the repetitive patterns in your existence, but also how you can perhaps change some of the more challenging ones, but also work with the more encouraging energy in a much more productive way. And there's 30% off. Please see the link below. So Sagittarius, your week commencing the 24th of October forecast. Well, this week begins with Saturn now in direct motion. If your nervous system has been feeling really pounded over the last couple of years, this is going to help. There is still the tense right angle with Uranus through to pretty well the end of November within 3 degrees, but a helpful step forwards. Also, relations with people immediately around you could ease a little bit, perhaps with a neighbour that perhaps you haven't quite seen eye to eye with, or perhaps if you do work in technology and there's been a lot of pressure through the COVID fallout, working from home and so forth. I think Saturn going forwards is also very helpful. But Jupiter, your ruler, does reverse into your sector of home and emotions. So if you're hoping for some good news in that area, then you can expect it, particularly from the 23rd of November through to the 20th of December. During that window of opportunity, something that you've set your heart on could come to pass. However, this week does see Mars also going into a retrograde, and Mars continues its rather wounding and draining a right angle with Neptune in your sector of the home and emotion. So if there are close relationships which are causing some concern, or you're not quite sure where you stand, the fact that we have the solar eclipse in your 12th house with Venus so close to the Sun, Venus detrimented in the sign of Scorpio, it's kind of saying that this may be a time to think very deeply about what you want. So if there is a relationship that just doesn't seem to make sense at an emotional level, however much you like the person, however entertaining and sociable or even attractive somebody is, it's how things feel. It's so important. But this in some ways is counterintuitive, because for Sagittarians it's all about passion, it's about excitement and making things happen and changing things up and embracing the next new adventure. And what you're being asked to do is really bring into your situation a much greater understanding of what makes you really tick, what your needs are in relationships, but also becoming much more conscious of the needs of other people. And there could be some kind of reconnection between you and someone from your past, not necessarily an old flame, but someone you had an attachment to or respect for. There could be some kind of reconnection over the next 6 months. But if you are thinking about someone romantically from your past, I think it would need to be a situation where both you and them have significantly moved on from the point of when the relationship last finished, for this tie to really start to be reignited. I certainly think by the 20th of December, if there is someone you still pine for, by the 20th of December, you'll get a lot more clarity on whether that could be a potential a relationship that can be revived. But if you're in a tie where there is a lack of emotional simpatico, I think this could be a point when you do decide to wind down and basically move into your own needs and separate a little bit from that other person.